Good everybody. Today we're going to talk about why people suffer. And it's actually really, really simple. Before we do, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more information around high performance relationships and how to create 6-7 figure businesses. Suffering. It's actually very, very simple because suffering is a state of mind. So people think that we suffer because things happen to us. Someone says something happens to us, that some kind of external thing actually does something to us and then we suffer. But suffering is actually based in perspective or based in our thoughts. So, first thing, suffering comes from multiple sources, right? First one is not accepting reality as it is. So, the first part is going, I don't want life to be the way it is. I want life to be something different. I want it to be somewhere else. I want something else to happen. We are in this constant loop of, I want life to be different than what it is. I want myself to be different. I want someone else to treat me different. I want my wealth to be different. I want my relationship to be different. So that is a construct of the mind because we're thinking that where we are right now is not where we should be, and we're not accepting reality. So one of the first things is to overcome suffering is to go and accept reality. Go, okay, life is exactly the way it is because it just is. And when you sort of accept it as it is, it becomes a bit of a relief. Okay, right, it may not be good. It may not be where I want it to be, but life is exactly where it is. Accept reality. Second part is that we have to sort of control our thoughts about, I want life to be different than it is, because when we stop thinking that life should be different, then we kind of go, okay, right, that acceptance comes in again, and we'll be able to, sit there and go, okay, right, we can deal with what's in front of us, okay? So that's the thing. The second thing is, on top of that, we have this relation to time. And most people don't live in the present moment. Most people live in the past, which is an illusion, or the future, which is an illusion as well too, right? Because the past in itself is a story made up by us based on what we think is real, which quite often is not true. And quite often that's based in trauma or lack or insecurity or scarcity or whatever we've created, okay? So a lot of us are trying to avoid that. And also a lot of us are trying to avoid past pain as well too. So then we'll also be constantly in the future, living in this place of we don't want this to happen, or we're trying to predict this, especially working in this law of attraction space where people are trying to go, visualize the future and think about the future and all that kind of stuff. So what creates suffering is we're not being present in the present moment. We're sitting here going, we're obsessed with the past. We're trying to avoid the past. We're trying to avoid past pain. And then we're trying to control the future and what happens to us and avoid past pain as well too. And all on top of that, trying to be successful in some way to feel this sense of freedom and peace and control in our life, right? So suffering is a combination of where we're related in time to ourselves. So if we're constantly living in the past or living in the future, we can't be present and we can't be peaceful or free. So suffering is created by our state of mind in relation to how we relate to where we are in time. And that's sort of the problem with the current state of, where we are in life is we're obsessed with, we don't want life the way it is. We want life to be somewhere different. We don't want us to be where we are right now. We don't like where we are. We judge it. Sometimes we have shame against it. We can't relax in the moment. And then we're trying to avoid a past event by trying to control the future, which all leads to suffering. And it is all a state of mind. It's all made up by our thoughts. And it's a result. And people try and control these external things, right? So if I control these external circumstances, then somehow I will reduce my suffering. And that perpetuates more suffering in that space, right? So we're on this trying to treadmill, trying to control things that we can't control, all by thinking that we can control our mind. But the thing is, we need to let go and have a very, very strong relationship to reality, a really strong relationship to what is real and what's in our life currently and what's in the present moment. So how you sort of overcome suffering is one, accept where you are, whether it's good or bad, non-judgment, just have full acceptance for your role and where you are in life. Second thing, understand your relation to time and where is your mindset most of the day? Are you trying to avoid the past or are you trying to control the future? And allow yourself to be in the present moment. So if you combine those two and have radical acceptance, know who you are, no judgment, accept reality, be in the present moment. And then magic happens because all of a sudden a space opens up inside you. Then you have presence, intuition, and you can certainly see things that you may not necessarily seen before because you're not trying to run away from something. So we all think the suffering happens because something happens to us. No, suffering happens because of the way we're perceiving life, our perspective to life, the way we're viewing life. And the way to actually overcome that is to see what actually is really creating suffering, which is the nature of our thoughts. So that's a very, very short video on how the illusion of thought creates a lot of stress in our lives. And it's made by us, where a lot of people think that suffering is made because something happens to us. And no. Suffering is an inside-out job. It's a reflection of our internal dialogue. It's a reflection of how we think. It's a reflection of how we see ourselves to be. And once we sort of step back from that, we have this sort of observer effect to life, then what can happen is, places can open up where we can have a view of where we're at, which is based in what is actually true. And then from there, you can move forward in wherever you want to go, whatever problem you want to overcome. But too many people try to grab onto and try to chase external things and try to control external circumstances, which you can't do. It's a losing battle. You can't get there. So if you want to be able to overcome suffering, it really is about just stepping back and questioning, add the self-awareness, go inside, and then inside the house, inside here, right? To really question the nature of thought and the nature of reality and what is actually true. And from that place, you'll find the suffering will disappear, or you'll see it as an illusion of your own thoughts, which is made up and is based on primarily what you think of yourself and the judgment around that, or what control you avoid, or again, the limitations or the insecurities, or however you view yourself. So if you are suffering, just understand it is in your control. You are creating it, and take responsibility and accountability for that. And then from there, you can move forward. If you'd like help with this stuff, I do have courses on this. You can reach out, but I'd love to hear comments on this because suffering for other people is something they're a little uncontrollable with. But see how you go and let me know.